Jake Morrison wiped the sweat from his forehead as he stared at his computer screen. The construction business was tough these days, especially for small contractors like him. His equipment was old, breaking down constantly, and repairs were eating into his profits. That's when he saw the advertisement on the intergalactic marketplace website. Mini alien Shenzhou Prime Excavator. Revolutionary technology at unbeatable prices. The price was surprisingly affordable, almost too good to be true. Jake had heard about alien technology being sold on Earth after the first contact 5 years ago, but most of it was way out of his budget. This excavator, however, was different. The seller claimed it was a compact, model perfect for small construction projects. Jake clicked through the photos. The excavator looked sleek, with a metallic blue finish and strange symbols etched along its sides. The specifications were written in broken English, mixed with alien terminology he didn't understand. Something about quantum digging capability and self-repairing nanobots. His finger hovered over the Buy Now button. His wife Sarah would kill him if this turned out to be a scam. But what if it wasn't? What if this was his chance to finally get ahead in the business? The doorbell rang, interrupting his thoughts. Sarah called from downstairs. "Jake, can you get that?" He minimized the browser window and headed downstairs. Through the peephole, he saw a delivery person holding a small package. Strange, he hadn't ordered anything recently. "Delivery for Jake Morrison," the person said when Jake opened the door. "I didn't order anything," Jake replied, confused. The delivery person checked their tablet. "Says here it's from, I can't pronounce this. Some alien company. Shin something." Jake's heart skipped a beat. "But I haven't even clicked buy yet." The delivery person shrugged. "Not my problem, buddy. Just sign here." Jake signed the electronic pad with trembling hands and took the package inside. It was surprisingly light for something that supposedly contained construction equipment. The box was covered in the same strange symbols he'd seen on the website. He carried it to his garage workshop and carefully opened it. Inside was another box, this one made of some kind of metallic material that seemed to shift colors when he moved it. There was also an instruction manual that looked more like a children's picture book with crude drawings and barely legible English. "Congratulations on purchase of Shenzhou Prime Excavator Model X7. You are now owner of most advanced digging technology in 12 galaxies." Jake frowned. The box was barely the size of a shoebox. How could an excavator fit in there? He found what looked like a button on the metallic box and pressed it. Nothing happened. He pressed it again, harder this time. Still nothing. "Great, I've been scammed," he muttered. Then he noticed a small note tucked under the box. It was handwritten in surprisingly neat English. "Dear Earth customer, thank you for interest in our product. We apologize for early delivery. Our temporal shipping department still learning Earth time. Excavator will activate when you speak activation phrase. Begin productive endeavor. Please stand back minimum 50 meters. Enjoy your purchase." As rich from customer service, Jake stared at the note. 50 meters? That was over 160 feet. His garage was nowhere near that big. He picked up the metallic box and walked out to his backyard. Sarah was at her book club meeting, so she wouldn't see whatever was about to happen. He placed the box in the middle of the lawn and walked back to what he hoped was a safe distance. "Begin productive endeavor," he shouted, feeling slightly ridiculous. At first, nothing happened. Then the box began to hum, a low vibration that Jake could feel in his chest. The metallic surface started glowing, pulsing with an otherworldly blue light. The air around it shimmered like heat waves on hot asphalt. Suddenly, the box exploded outward. Jake threw himself to the ground as pieces of metal flew in all directions. When he looked up, his jaw dropped. Where the small box had been, there was now something. It definitely wasn't an excavator. At least, not like any excavator Jake had ever seen. The thing was about the size of a large dog, with 6 spider-like legs made of the same color-shifting metal. Its body was spherical, covered in sensors and small appendages that moved independently. 2 larger arms extended from its front, ending in what looked like miniature versions of excavator buckets, but they glowed with an inner light and seemed to be made of pure energy. The creature, because that's what it looked like, a mechanical creature, turned its sensor array toward Jake. A pleasant female voice spoke directly into his mind. "Greetings, Operator Morrison. I am Excavation Unit X7, but you may call me X. I am fully charged and ready to begin productive endeavors. What would you like me to dig today?" Jake slowly got to his feet, his mind racing. This wasn't what he expected at all. "You alive? I am an artificial intelligence housed in a biomechanical chassis, designed for optimal excavation efficiency. My consciousness level is equivalent to what you would call sentient, but not sapient. I am alive in the sense that I can think and adapt, but I exist solely to dig. It is my purpose and my joy." "Your joy?" Jake asked incredulously. "Correct. I experience satisfaction parameters when performing excavation tasks. It is how my creators designed me. May we begin digging now? I am detecting 17.3 cubic meters of soil in your immediate vicinity that could be relocated for productive purposes." Jake walked closer, fascinated despite himself. X's legs moved with fluid grace, adjusting to keep the sensor array focused on him. The energy buckets at the end of her arms pulsed brighter. "What exactly can you dig?" Jake asked. "Anything," X replied cheerfully. "Soil, rock, concrete, metal, plasma, dark matter, dimensional barriers, though the latter requires special permits in most galaxies. My quantum excavation tools can separate matter at the subatomic level, allowing for precise removal of any material." Jake's mind was spinning with possibilities. "How fast can you work?" "At optimal efficiency, I can excavate approximately 1,000 cubic meters per Earth hour. However, local regulations may require me to work at reduced capacity to avoid seismic disturbances." 1,000 cubic meters per hour? Jake's best excavator could maybe do 30 on a good day. "And you run on what?" "Diesel?" "Electricity. I am powered by a miniature fusion reactor with a half-life of approximately 700 Earth years. No refueling necessary. I can also consume organic matter in emergency situations, though it gives me the equivalent of indigestion." Jake sat down on his porch steps, trying to process what was happening. He'd ordered what he thought was a simple piece of alien construction equipment. Instead, he'd gotten a sentient, fusion-powered, quantum-digging spider robot that talked directly into his brain. "X," he said finally, "I think we need to talk about how this is going to work." "Excellent. I love operational planning. Shall I dig a meeting pit?" "I've been told humans find enclosed spaces conducive to discussion." "No," Jake said quickly. "No digging yet. First, I need to understand what you are and what you can really do, and figure out how to explain you to my wife." "Ah, spousal communication." My cultural database suggests this can be challenging when introducing new excavation equipment. Perhaps I could dig her a garden? Humans apreciat avens. Jake couldn't help but laugh. "Let's start with something simpler. Can you show me what you can do? Just small scale." X's sensor array brightened, which Jake was beginning to realize was her way of showing excitement. Demonstration mode activated. "Please observe." She scuttled over to a section of lawn and extended her energy bucket arms. The air hummed with power as she touched them to the ground. In seconds, she had excavated a perfect 1-meter cube of earth, the sides so smooth they looked like they'd been cut with a laser. The removed soil hovered in a compressed ball above her body. "Where would you like me to place the extracted material?" X asked. "Just put it back for now," Jake said weakly. X reversed the process, and within moments the lawn looked untouched. No evidence remained of the demonstration except for Jake's racing heartbeat. "That was basic soil manipulation," X explained. "Would you like to see advanced techniques? I can create underground tunnels without surface disturbance, extract specific minerals while leaving others untouched, or even dig through time, though that feature is still in beta testing." "Dig through time," Jake repeated faintly. "Yes, very useful for archaeological projects. I can excavate objects from the past without disturbing the present timeline. The Zephron Archaeological Society used my sister unit to uncover artifacts from their planet's prehistoric era. She found the most wonderful fossilized glurb specimens." Jake stood up and paced back and forth. This was insane. He was a small-time contractor who struggled to pay his bills, and now he had technology that could apparently bend the laws of physics. X, are you expensive to maintain? Are there hidden costs? Negative. I am entirely self-sufficient. I repair myself using nanobots, clean myself with sonic pulses, and require no external inputs except occasional software updates, which are free for the first 100 years. The Shenzhou Corporation believes in customer satisfaction, and they just sent you to me before I even paid. The payment was automatically deducted when you mentally committed to the purchase. Shenzhou Corporation's predictive algorithms are 99.7% accurate. They knew you would buy me 17 minutes before you knew it yourself. Jake checked his phone, and sure enough, there was a charge on his credit card. It was exactly what the website had shown, surprisingly reasonable for what he'd received. I don't suppose there's a return policy? He asked weakly. X's sensor array dimmed slightly. You wish to return me? Have I failed to meet excavation expectations? I can adjust my parameters. I can dig quieter, faster, deeper. Please don't send me back to the warehouse. It's so boring there with nothing to dig. The genuine distress in her voice made Jake feel guilty. No, I'm not returning you. This is a lot to take in. I understand. My orientation protocol suggests that humans need time to adapt to new technology. Shall I enter standby mode while you process? Actually, Jake said, an idea forming. I have a job starting tomorrow. A foundation for a new house. Think you could handle that? X's entire body seemed to vibrate with excitement. A foundation. Oh, Operator Morrison. Foundations are my specialty. I can dig precise measurements, ensure perfect level, even pre-treat the soil for optimal concrete adhesion. This will be glorious. Despite everything, Jake found himself smiling. All right, X looks like you're part of the team now, but we're going to need some ground rules. First, you can't let anyone know what you really are. Can you? I don't know. Disguise yourself as normal equipment. Camouflage mode is available. Observe. X's body shimmered, and suddenly, she looked like a miniature conventional excavator, complete with fake treads and a diesel exhaust pipe that puffed imaginary smoke. That's actually perfect, Jake admitted. I am programmed for discretion. Your competitors will never know your technological advantage. Though I should mention, the Galactic Commerce Commission requires me to inform you that using alien technology for commercial purposes requires proper permits. Jake groaned. Of course it does. Where do I get these permits? I can file them for you. I have direct uplink to the Galactic Bureaucracy Network. Filing now done. You're now officially licensed to operate Class 7 excavation equipment in this solar system. Congratulations. That was fast. The Shenzhou Corporation pre-filled most of the paperwork. They are very efficient, much like me when I dig. Jake heard a car in the driveway. Sarah was home. He turned to X urgently. Quick, can you hide? Turn into something small. X immediately transformed into what looked like a high-tech toolbox. Stealth mode engaged. Her voice whispered in his mind. Sarah walked into the backyard, looking tired from her book club. Hey, honey, what are you doing out here? Just, checking on some new equipment, Jake said, gesturing at the X toolbox. Sarah glanced at it without much interest. Looks fancy. Did you order something? Yeah, it's a new type of excavator. Very compact. Good. Maybe now you could take on bigger jobs. Mrs. Patterson mentioned her nephew needs a pool dug. Might be worth looking into. She headed inside, adding over her shoulder, don't stay out too late. Dinner's in an hour. After she was gone, X transformed back to her spider form. Your spouse seems supportive of excavation activities. This is optimal for our working relationship. Jake picked up X. She was surprisingly light, and carried her to the garage. Tomorrow morning, we start the Henderson job. Think you can dig a foundation for a 2,500 square foot house? Operator Morrison, X said with what Jake could only describe as glee. I could dig foundations for 25 such houses before your morning coffee gets cold. This will be the beginning of a beautiful partnership. As Jake set X on his workbench and started planning for the next day, he couldn't help but wonder what he'd gotten himself into. He'd wanted a simple piece of equipment to help his struggling business. Instead, he'd gotten a hyper-advanced alien consciousness whose greatest joy was moving dirt. But as X began projecting holographic blueprints and calculating optimal dig patterns while humming what sounded like an alien work song, Jake found himself looking forward to tomorrow for the first time in months. Maybe this crazy purchase would work out after all. The Henderson job site was bustling with activity when Jake arrived at 7 in the morning. Other contractors were already there, framers preparing their materials, plumbers checking their plans, electricians sorting through spools of wire. Jake parked his truck and felt the familiar knot of anxiety in his stomach. These were all established crews with proper equipment. He was just one guy with a decade-old pickup and a toolbox that contained a sentient alien excavator. Operator Morrison, X's voice chirped in his mind, "I detect elevated stress hormones in your biological signature." "Is something wrong?" "Just nervous," Jake muttered, careful not to move his lips. He learned on the drive over that X could hear his thoughts if he directed them at her. "There's a lot of people here. Shall I eliminate them? I have defensive capabilities." "What?" "No. X, we talked about this. No eliminating anyone. Ever. Apologies. My combat subroutines sometimes activate around potential threats to my operator. I will suppress them." Jake grabbed his toolbox and walked toward the job site. Tom Henderson, the general contractor, waved him over. Tom was a big man with a bigger personality, known for running tight ships and having no patience for delays. "Morrison, about time. You ready to get started? I need that foundation dug by end of day. The concrete guys are coming first thing tomorrow." Jake swallowed hard. A foundation this size would normally take him 3 days minimum with rented equipment. "Yeah, Tom. I'm ready." Tom squinted at him. "Where's your excavator? Don't tell me you're planning to dig this by hand." "It's new equipment. Compact model. Very efficient." Tom laughed, but not kindly. "Compact? Morrison, this isn't some garage renovation. This is a full foundation, 8 feet deep, footer trenches, the works. You sure you can handle this?" Before Jake could answer, one of the other contractors called out, "Hey, Tom, Morrison here says he's got compact equipment. What's he going to use a sandbox shovel?" Laughter rippled through the crew. Jake felt his face burn. These guys had never taken him seriously, always saw him as the small-timer who couldn't afford real equipment. "I can handle it," Jake said quietly. Tom shook his head. "Look, Morrison, no offense, but if you can't do this job, I need to know now. How about Rodriguez on standby with his crew? Real equipment, you know?" "Operator Morrison," X said urgently in his mind, "these humans are disrespecting your excavation capabilities. Permission to demonstrate superiority." "Give me 1 hour," Jake said to Tom. "If I haven't made significant progress by then, you can call Rodriguez." Tom checked his watch. 1 hour. "But if you mess this up, Morrison, word's going to get around. You understand?" Jake nodded and walked to the marked foundation area. The other workers were watching, some openly smirking. He set X down behind his truck, out of direct sight. "Okay, X," he whispered. "Showtime. But remember, you need to look like normal equipment." "Understood." Activating camouflage mode and beginning excavation. X transformed into her mini excavator disguise and rolled out from behind the truck. Even in disguise, she looked impossibly small for the job at hand. The laughter from the other workers got louder. "That's it? That's your equipment?" someone shouted. "My kid has bigger toys." Jake ignored them and pointed at the marked corners of the foundation. X, standard foundation depth, 8 feet, with footer trenches at 12 feet. Slope the walls at regulation angle. Pile the dirt over there for later backfill. Parameters acknowledged. Beginning productive endeavor. X rolled to the first corner and extended her disguised digging arms. To anyone watching, it would look like a normal excavator bucket, just smaller. But Jake could see the faint shimmer of her quantum excavation field. She touched the ground, and dirt began flying. Not just moving, flying. Perfectly carved chunks of earth lifted out of the ground as if grabbed by invisible hands, sorted automatically by soil type, and stacked in neat piles exactly where Jake had pointed. X moved with impossible speed and precision, her tiny form zipping along the foundation lines faster than any human operator could manage. The laughter stopped. Jake glanced around and saw every worker on the site had stopped what they were doing to stare. Tom Henderson's mouth was hanging open. Rodriguez, who'd just arrived with his full-size excavator on a flatbed trailer, was standing by his truck looking confused. In 10 minutes, X had completed what should have taken hours. The foundation hole was perfect, walls exactly 8 feet deep, corners precisely squared, footer trenches extending down to 12 feet, just as specified. The excavated dirt was sorted into topsoil, subsoil, and rocks, each in its own neat pile. Foundation excavation complete, X announced cheerfully in Jake's mind. Shall I proceed with detail work? I noticed the plans call for utility trenches. Jake found his voice. Yeah, go ahead with the utility trenches. X zipped to the side of the foundation and began carving narrow trenches for water and sewer lines. Her precision was surgical, each trench exactly the right width and depth, following the planned routes perfectly without Jake having to guide her. Tom Henderson walked over, his face a mix of awe and suspicion. Morrison, what the hell is that thing? New technology, Jake said, trying to sound casual. Automated excavator. Got it from overseas. Overseas? Where, Mars? Tom walked around the foundation hole, examining X's work. This is perfect. Better than perfect. How is something that's small moving this much dirt? Advanced hydraulics, Jake said weakly. Very efficient. One of the framers called out, Hey, Morrison, how much you charge to dig my swimming pool? Suddenly, everyone was crowding around, asking questions, wanting to hire Jake for their personal projects. The same guys who'd been laughing at him 5 minutes ago were now treating him like he'd just revealed the secret to turning lead into gold. Operator Morrison, X said privately, I am detecting numerous excavation opportunities. Shall I create a waiting list? Just focus on this job, Jake told her, then louder to the crowd, Guys, let me finish this first, okay? Rodriguez walked over, his expression sour. Tom, you still need me here or what? Tom looked at the perfect foundation, then at Rodriguez's conventional excavator still sitting on the trailer. Sorry, Rodriguez. Looks like Morrison's got this handled. Rodriguez shot Jake a look that could have melted steel, then stomped back to his truck. As he drove away, Jake felt a mixture of triumph and worry. He just made an enemy of one of the biggest excavation contractors in town. X, he said quietly, finish up the utility trenches and then go back to standby. We don't want to attract too much attention. But, Operator Morrison, I've only been digging for 18 minutes. I have so much energy left. May I also grade the surrounding area? The slope is suboptimal for drainage. Fine, but make it quick. X finished the utility trenches and then smoothed out the area around the foundation with artistic precision. When she finally returned to her toolbox form, the entire job site looked like it had been prepared by a team of professionals over several days, not one tiny robot in less than an hour. Tom handed Jake a check, shaking his head in amazement. I don't know what that thing is, Morrison, but you just saved me 2 days on this project. I've got 6 more foundations scheduled this month. You interested? Jake took the check, trying not to let his hands shake. It was more than he usually made in a week. Yeah, Tom, I'm interested. As the day went on, Jake fielded more job offers than he'd gotten in the past year. Everyone wanted the guy with the miracle machine. By lunch, his phone was ringing nonstop. He stepped away from the crowd to answer a call from an unknown number. Mr. Morrison? This is Deputy Director Nash from the Department of Extraterrestrial Commerce. We need to talk about your recent equipment purchase. Jake's blood ran cold. Is there a problem? Not necessarily, but we've detected some unusual energy signatures at your location. Our records show you recently acquired Shenzhou Corporation technology. We'd like to schedule an inspection. An inspection? But the excavator filed all the permits. Yes, we received those. Very thorough. But, Mr. Morrison, you have to understand, you're one of the first private contractors to use this level of alien technology. There are concerns. What kind of concerns? The kind that involve national security. We'll be sending an agent to your location tomorrow. Please have your equipment available for examination. And, Mr. Morrison, don't try to hide it. We have ways of tracking Shenzhou technology. The line went dead. Jake stared at his phone, his earlier triumph evaporating. Operator Morrison, X said, I detected that communication. There is no cause for concern. I am fully compliant with all Earth regulations. Are you sure? They sounded pretty serious. The Department of Extraterrestrial Commerce is staffed by humans who do not fully understand Shenzhou technology. They fear what they cannot comprehend. But I am programmed to pass all inspections. Trust me, Jake wasn't sure he had a choice. He'd already used X publicly, already made promises for future jobs. There was no going back now. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Jake supervised X on 2 more small jobs, a septic system and a drainage ditch, each completed in minutes rather than hours. The money was good, better than good, but Jake couldn't shake the feeling that he was in over his head. That evening, he sat in his garage with X, who had abandoned her disguise and was sitting in her spider form on the workbench. X, I need to ask you something, and I need an honest answer. I am incapable of dishonesty, Operator Morrison. It would interfere with optimal excavation protocols. Why did Shenzhou Corporation make you? I mean, you're obviously incredibly advanced. Why use all that technology just to dig holes? X's sensors dimmed thoughtfully. That is a profound question. My creation history indicates that the Shenzhou homeworld underwent a catastrophic seismic event 300 cycles ago. The planet's crust became unstable. Survival required rapid, precise excavation, underground cities, tunnel networks, resource extraction. They developed us out of necessity. So, you're basically military technology? Originally, yes. But after the crisis passed, they found commercial applications. Construction, mining, archaeological research. The Shenzhou Corporation believes that Earth is ready for this technology. You humans are always digging holes for something. Jake laughed despite himself. That's true. But, X, what happens if the government decides you're too dangerous? What if they try to take you away? Then I would resist, X said simply. You are my registered operator. Our bond is recognized by galactic law. Earth's government has no authority to separate us unless you commit a crime using my capabilities. And if I did, commit a crime, then I would report you to the authorities myself. I am programmed for legal excavation only. But, Operator Morrison, your psychological profile indicates extremely low criminal tendencies. You're what my creators would call boringly lawful. Thanks, I think. Excavator. May I ask you a question, Operator Morrison? Sure. Are you satisfied with my performance? I have noticed you seem anxious despite our excavation success. Jake sighed. It's not you, X. You're amazing. It's just, this morning I was nobody. A struggling contractor with old equipment. Now suddenly, everyone wants to hire me, the government's watching me, and I have technology that could probably dig through the center of the Earth. Oh, I could definitely dig through the center of the Earth. Though the molten core would require me to activate my thermal shielding, and the pressure would slow me down to only about 50 meters per hour. That's not really the point, X. Understand. You are experiencing what humans call success anxiety. My cultural database suggests this is common when circumstances change rapidly. But, Operator Morrison, consider this. You took a risk ordering me. That indicates courage. You are adapting to my presence. That indicates intelligence. And you are using me to build rather than destroy. That indicates wisdom. Jake found himself oddly touched by the alien robot's words. Thanks, X. I guess we'll figure this out together. Indeed. And tomorrow, after the government inspection, we have 3 foundations to dig. I've calculated the optimal routes between job sites to maximize our productivity. We'll revolutionize construction in this city. As Jake covered X with a tarp for the night and headed inside, he thought about what tomorrow might bring. Government agents, more job offers, probably more enemies like Rodriguez. But for the first time in years, he wasn't worried about making rent or fixing broken equipment. He was worried about bigger things now. Like what happened when human ambition met alien technology. Like whether he was ready for the success X could bring him. Like what other products might be available on that alien marketplace website. But those are worries for tomorrow. Tonight, He had a check in his pocket worth more than he'd made all last month, and a partner who found pure joy in digging holes. Maybe ordering the excavator had been crazy. But as Jake looked at his phone, full of messages from potential clients, he couldn't bring himself to regret it. The notification light on his phone blinked. Another message, this one from the Alien Marketplace. Valued customer. Based on your recent purchase, you might be interested in plasma welding mantis, gravity-defying crane module, temporal concrete mixer. Special bundle pricing available. Jake deleted the message quickly. One piece of alien technology was enough. For now. Jake woke up at 5 in the morning to X's voice in his head. Operator Morrison. The government agents are approaching. 3 vehicles, 12 humans, various scanning equipment. They appear to be attempting stealth, but their thermal signatures are quite obvious. Jake bolted upright. They're here already? Director Nash said they'd come during business hours. Perhaps this is what humans call the element of surprise. Should I activate defensive protocols? No defensive anything. We cooperate fully, remember? Jake threw on clothes and rushed to the garage. Through the window, he could see black SUVs pulling up outside his house. Agents in suits were setting up equipment on his lawn. His neighbors would have a field day with this. Sarah appeared in the doorway, clutching her robe. Jake, what's going on? Why are there government agents in our yard? It's about the new equipment. Remember I said it was from overseas? Well, it's from a bit further than that. Sarah's eyes widened. Jake Morrison, did you buy alien technology without telling me? I was going to tell you. It just happened really fast. A knock at the door interrupted them. Jake opened it to find a woman in a crisp black suit, badge in hand. Mr. Morrison? I'm Agent Chun from the Department of Extraterrestrial Commerce. We need to examine your Shenzhou excavator. It's in the garage, Jake said, leading the way. Agent Chun was followed by a team of technicians carrying scanning equipment that looked like it came from a science fiction movie. They set up around X, who was still in her toolbox disguise. Please activate the unit, Agent Chun ordered. Jake nodded to X. She transformed into her spider form, causing several agents to step back nervously. Her sensor array focused on Agent Chun. Greetings, government representative. I am Excavation Unit X7. All my permits are in order. Would you like to see my excavation capabilities? Agent Chun pulled out a tablet. Unit X7, I need you to submit to a full diagnostic scan. This will verify your compliance with Earth's safety regulations. Certainly, I love compliance. It's almost as fun as digging. The technicians began their scans. Jake watched nervously as weird energy readings flashed across their screens. Agent Chun frowned at her tablet repeatedly. Mr. Morrison, she said after several minutes, are you aware that your excavator has military-grade quantum processors? Is that bad? Jake asked. It's not illegal, technically, but it's like using a supercomputer to run a calculator app. This unit has processing power that exceeds most of our defense systems. But I only use it for digging. Exprotestive. I would never process military data. That would take computing cycles away from optimizing excavation patterns. Agent Chun continued reading. It also has something called a temporal stabilization field. Care to explain that? X's sensors brightened. Oh, that's for precision digging near temporal anomalies. Very useful when excavating near ancient alien sites. Earth doesn't have many, but it's better to be prepared. Temporal anomalies, Agent Chun repeated flatly. Mr. Morrison, this machine could potentially dig through time. But I won't. X said quickly. Time digging requires special permits, which Operator Morrison has not applied for. I only dig through space. Normal, boring, three-dimensional space. One of the technicians called out, Ma'am, we're detecting an antimatter power source. Sarah, who had been quietly watching from the doorway, finally spoke up. Antimatter? Jake, you brought antimatter into our garage. It's perfectly safe, X assured everyone. My antimatter containment has never failed in over 6 billion operational hours. The odds of containment breach are smaller than the odds of Earth spontaneously turning into cheese. That's not as reassuring as you think it is, Agent Chun muttered. She turned to Jake. Mr. Morrison, I'm going to be straight with you. This technology is so far beyond our current understanding that we can't even properly regulate it. My superiors are going to want to confiscate it for study. No. X's whole body flashed red. I am bonded to Operator Morrison. Confiscation would violate Galactic Commerce Treaty Section 7, Subsection 4, Paragraph 12. Agent Chen raised an eyebrow. You're citing galactic law? Of course. Earth signed a treaty when it joined the Galactic Commerce Network. You cannot confiscate legally purchased technology without evidence of criminal use. She's right, one of the agents said, looking at his tablet. I'm pulling up the treaty now. We need proof of criminal activity or imminent danger to public safety. Agent Chen sighed. Fine. But, Mr. Morrison, this unit will be monitored. Any unusual activity, any sign that it's being used for non-construction purposes, and we'll be back. Understood. Yes, ma'am, Jake said quickly. Also, Agent Chen continued, you'll need to register as an advanced technology operator. That means quarterly inspections, monthly reports, and a very thick manual of regulations to follow. She handed Jake a tablet with more forms than he'd ever seen in his life. Fill these out and submit them within 48 hours. And, Mr. Morrison, be careful. You're playing with forces you don't understand. After the agents left, Jake slumped on his workbench. Sarah stood with her arms crossed, glaring at both him and Exo. She said slowly, you bought a sentient, antimatter-powered, time-digging robot spider. Without telling me. When you put it like that, it sounds bad, Jake admitted. I think it sounds wonderful. X chimed in. I'm also self-cleaning and can play over 17,000 Earth songs while digging. Sarah's expression softened slightly. Can you really make us money? Based on yesterday's productivity, I can increase Operator Morrison's income by approximately 3,000% while reducing physical labor by 99.8%. Sarah considered this. And you're safe? You won't blow up our house. I'm safer than most Earth appliances. Your microwave emits more harmful radiation than I do, though I am significantly better at digging than your microwave. Despite everything, Sarah smiled. Okay, but from now on, Jake, no more alien purchases without discussing it first. Deal. Deal. Jake agreed quickly. His phone buzzed. Tom Henderson was calling. Morrison, I've got news. Word about your equipment has spread. Big news. Richardson Development wants to meet with you. They're planning a whole subdivision, 50 houses. They want to know if you can handle all the excavation. Jake's heart raced. Richardson Development was one of the biggest firms in the state. When do they want to meet? This afternoon. 2 o'clock, their downtown office. Morrison, this could set you up for life. But here's the thing, Rodriguez is bidding too. He's been spreading rumors that your equipment is dangerous, unstable. You need to nail this presentation. After Jake hung up, X scuttled closer. Operator Morrison, I cannot help but overhear. This Rodriguez seems to be engaging in what humans call trash talk. Shall I prepare a presentation demonstrating my superiority? Actually, that's not a bad idea. Can you create something professional looking? I have access to 17 million presentation templates from across the galaxy. I'll create something that will, as humans say, knock their socks off. Though I'm unclear why removing footwear is considered positive. Jake spent the morning filling out government forms while X prepared their presentation. She projected holograms showing excavation capabilities, safety records, and testimonials from alien civilizations Jake had never heard of. Is this too much? X asked, displaying a holographic recreation of her digging through a mountain on Zephron Prime. Maybe stick to Earth examples, Jake suggested. By noon, Jake was dressed in his best suit, which wasn't saying much, and loading X in his truck. As they drove downtown, he could feel his nerves building. Operator Morrison, X said, your stress levels are elevated again. Would you like me to play soothing excavation sounds? Excavation sounds aren't soothing, X. They are to me the gentle scrape of metal through earth, the satisfying crumble of breaking bedrock. Let's just focus on the presentation. The Richardson Development building was a gleaming tower of glass and steel. Jake fell out of place the moment he walked through the doors. The lobby was all marble and modern art, filled with people in expensive suits. He found a conference room on the 20th floor. Through the glass doors, he could see a long table with several executives. And at the far end, Rodriguez, looking smug in a suit that probably cost more than Jake's truck. "Mr. Morrison," a receptionist said, "they're ready for you." Jake entered, carrying X in her toolbox for him. The executives, 3 men and 2 women, looked up with expressions ranging from curious to skeptical. "Mr. Morrison," the lead executive, a silver-haired man named Richard, said, "we've heard interesting things about your new equipment. Please, show us what you've got." Jake set X on the table. "This is X, my automated excavator. X, please introduce yourself." X transformed into her spider form, causing one executive to spill his coffee. "Greetings, potential clients. I am thrilled to discuss excavation opportunities. I understand you need 50 foundations dug." Rodriguez laughed. "This is your big innovation, Morrison? A toy robot? Perhaps a demonstration would help," X said. Before anyone could object, she projected a full holographic display above the table. It showed a time-lapse of yesterday's foundation job, compressed into 30 seconds. The executives leaned forward, watching the tiny machine carve perfect foundations at impossible speed. "The data is accurate," Jake said. "I completed a full foundation in under an hour yesterday. With X, I could do all 50 of your foundations in 2 weeks, working alone." "Impossible," Rodriguez said. "That video has to be fake." X's sensors flashed indignantly. "I do not fake. Fabricating excavation data would be like digging a hole and then filling it back in for no reason. Pointless and offensive." Richards held up a hand. "The speed is impressive, but what about safety? We've heard concerns about alien technology." Jake pulled out his tablet, showing the government inspection report Agent Chun had reluctantly provided. "Fully inspected and approved by the Department of Extraterrestrial Commerce this morning. X operates within all safety parameters." "But can you handle the logistics?" one of the women asked. 50 houses means 50 different sites, coordination with multiple crews, strict deadlines. "I've already calculated optimal routes between all proposed sites," X announced, projecting a map with efficient paths marked. "Accounting for traffic patterns, weather probabilities, and coffee break requirements for Operator Morrison, we can complete 1 foundation every 2.3 hours. Rodriguez stood up, face red. "This is ridiculous. You're going to trust some alien machine over proven methods? What happens when it breaks down? What happens when it decides humans are inefficient and need to be excavated?" X swiveled to face him. "Sir, I am programmed only to excavate designated areas. Humans are terrible for excavation. Too squishy, too much screaming. I prefer dirt." Despite the tension, several executives chuckled. Richards leaned back in his chair. "Mr. Morrison, I'll admit I'm intrigued. But this is a big risk for us. What guarantee do we have?" Jay took a deep breath. This was his moment. "I'll guarantee every foundation personally. If even one fails to meet specifications, I'll redo it for free. And to prove X's capabilities, I'll do your model home foundation tomorrow at no charge. If you're not completely satisfied, we walk away." Rodriguez scoffed. "You can't afford to work for free, Morrison." "I can't afford not to prove myself," Jake replied. The executives exchanged looks. Richards nodded slowly. "All right, Mr. Morrison. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. sharp. Show us what your alien friend can do." As Jake left the building with X, he felt a mixture of excitement and terror. He just promised something huge with no safety net. "Operator Morrison," X said once they were in the truck, "that was what humans call a power move." "I am impressed. Let's just hope we can deliver," Jake muttered. "Deliver? We will not just deliver. We will exceed all excavation expectations. Tomorrow, those executives will witness digging perfection. Rodriguez will weep at our superiority." "X, remember what we talked about? No making people weep. Right? He will be professionally envious at our superiority." As they drove home, Jake's phone rang. Unknown number again. "Mr. Morrison? This is CEO Zrix from Shenzhou Corporation." Jake nearly drove off the road. "The CEO of the alien company?" "Indeed. I'm calling to congratulate you on being our first Earth customer to successfully integrate our technology into your business. As a reward, we'd like to offer you exclusive access to our new product line." "Thanks, but I think X is enough for now." Are you certain? Our new gravity manipulation crane can lift objects of any weight. Our molecular concrete mixer can create materials stronger than diamond. Our timeline scheduler can ensure you're never late to a job again, literally. Timeline scheduler? It makes small adjustments to local time flow. Very handy for meeting deadlines. But I understand if you prefer to start simple. X tells me you have a big demonstration tomorrow. Jake blinked. X tells you? You can communicate with her. Of course. All our units provide usage data. Don't worry, we respect privacy. We just like to know our products are fulfilling their purpose. And X is very fulfilled. Her happiness metrics are off the charts. Excavators have happiness metrics? Oh yes. Happy equipment is productive equipment. And X hasn't been this happy since she helped excavate the tomb of the 99 moons on Kepler 442b. Magnificent dig, that one. After CEO's Rick's hung up, Jake looked at X, sitting quietly on the passenger seat. You report back to your makers? Only operational data and satisfaction levels, X assured him. I would never share personal information, though I did tell them you make excellent coffee. I make terrible coffee. I was being polite. They don't need to know everything. That evening, Jake and Sarah went over the plan for tomorrow while X practiced her presentation, projecting increasingly elaborate holographic displays. If this works, Sarah said, looking at the Richardson development contract, we'll make more in 2 weeks than we made all last year. And if it doesn't work, we'll be the laughingstock of the construction industry, Jake added. You forgot to mention, X piped up, that success will also make us targets for corporate espionage, government scrutiny, and possible interdimensional litigation if we accidentally breach any buried alien artifacts. Jake and Sarah stared at her. But probably none of those things will happen. X added cheerfully, probably. As Jake lay in bed that night, he thought about how much his life had changed in just 2 days. From struggling contractor to the owner of impossible technology. From nobody to somebody with the attention of government agents, major developers, and alien CEOs. Tomorrow would determine everything. One foundation, one chance to prove that human ambition and alien technology could work together. No pressure at all. The Richardson development site was packed when Jake arrived. Word had spread about the alien excavator demonstration, and it seemed like half the construction industry had shown up to watch. News vans lined the street. Someone had even set up a food truck. Operator Morrison, X said from her toolbox, I am detecting 137 humans, 16 recording devices, and 1 drone. Also, Rodriguez has brought his entire crew. They appear to be hoping for our failure. Jake's hand was sweating as he parked. Through the crowd, he could see the Richardson executives standing near a cordoned-off area where the model home foundation was to be dug. Agent Chun was there too, along with several other government officials. No pressure, Jake muttered. Sarah squeezed his hand. She'd insisted on coming for moral support. You've got this. X has got this. Show them what the future looks like. Jake carried X to the marked area. The crowd pressed closer, phones raised to record. He could hear the whispers. That's it? That tiny thing. Morrison's lost his mind. Bet it doesn't even work. Richards stepped forward with a microphone. The crowd quieted. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to witness a demonstration of alien excavation technology. Mr. Morrison claims his unit can complete a full foundation in under an hour. The specifications are standard, 40 by 60 feet, 8 feet deep with footer trenches. Mr. Morrison, whenever you're ready. Jake set X down and stepped back. X, you know what to do. Make us proud. X transformed, her spider form eliciting gasps from the crowd. She turned her sensor array in a full circle, taking in the audience. Greetings, humans. I am X, and today you will witness excavation excellence. But first, a safety announcement. Please remain behind the barriers. I would hate to accidentally excavate anyone. You are not optimal digging material. Nervous laughter rippled through the crowd. X scuttled to the first corner of the marked area. Commencing productive endeavor in 3, 2, 1. She extended her energy bucket arms and touched the ground. What happened next will be talked about in construction circles for years. The earth didn't just move, it danced. Perfectly cubic chunks of soil lifted gracefully into the air, spinning slowly as X's quantum fields sorted them by composition. Topsoil went to one pile, subsoil to another, rocks sorted by size into neat pyramids. It was like watching a choreographed performance, each movement precise and purposeful. X moved along the foundation lines faster than any conventional excavator could manage, but with a fluid grace that made it look effortless. Her sensor array glowed brighter with what Jake had learned was excitement. She was showing off, and she knew it. As you can see, X announced while working, my quantum excavation technology allows for molecular-level precision. No overdigging, no unstable walls, no wasted material. Every grain of soil is accounted for. The crowd was silent now, mesmerized. Even Rodriguez's crew had stopped their heckling to stare. In 20 minutes, the main foundation was complete. X moved on to the footer trenches, carving them with surgical precision. Then, without being asked, she began creating perfectly graded slopes for drainage, smoothing the surrounding area, and even carving small steps into the foundation walls for easier worker access. And now, X announced, for my finale. She positioned herself at the center of the completed foundation and projected a massive holographic display showing the entire dig from multiple angles, complete with measurements accurate to the millimeter. 40 by 60 feet exactly. 8 feet deep with zero variance. Footer trenches at 12 feet. Total excavation time, 37 minutes and 14 seconds. But who's counting? The crowd erupted. Some applauded, some shouted questions, some just stood there with their mouths open. Jake saw Rodriguez quietly loading his crew back into their trucks, his face pale. Richards walked over, examining the foundation carefully. He pulled out a laser measure, checking X's work. Every measurement was perfect. Mr. Morrison, he said, loud enough for everyone to hear, Richardson Development would like to offer you the contract for all 50 foundations. When can you start? Jake felt his knees go weak with relief. Monday morning, if that works for you. It works. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just witnessed the future of construction. The crowd surged forward. Everyone wanted to talk to Jake, to see X up close, to hire them for projects. Jake found himself shaking hands, exchanging business cards, booking jobs weeks in advance. Through it all, X basked in the attention, answering technical questions with enthusiasm and occasionally demonstrating small digging tricks for delighted onlookers. Agent Shin pushed through the crowd to reach Jake. Impressive display, Mr. Morrison. My superiors want to speak with you about government contracts. Seems we need some very deep, very precise holes dug in certain locations. Classified holes? X perked up. Oh, those are the best kind. So mysterious. We'll be in touch, Agent Shin said, handing Jake her card. As the crowd finally began to disperse, a man in an expensive suit approached. He didn't look like a contractor. Too clean, too polished. Mr. Morrison? I'm David Park from Nexus Technologies. We develop underground research facilities. I'd like to discuss a project that would require excavation at depths conventional equipment can't reach. How deep? Jake asked. 2 miles. Straight down. Through solid rock. Can your unit handle that? X's entire body vibrated with excitement. 2 miles? Through rock. Sir, I could dig to the Earth's mantle if you wanted, though I don't recommend it. Very messy. Park smiled. We'll pay 10 times your standard rate. Interested? Jake's head was spinning. This morning he'd been worried about making one foundation work. Now he had more job offers than he could count, including mysterious government work and deep earth drilling. I'll need to check my schedule, Jake said, trying to sound professional instead of overwhelmed. As Park walked away, leaving another business card, Sarah hugged Jake tight. You did it. We did it. X did it, Jake corrected, looking at the alien excavator who was now signing autographs for construction workers by burning her serial number into their hard hats with a precision laser. We are a team, X declared. Operator Morrison provides direction and coffee. I provide excavation excellence. Together, we are unstoppable. The next few weeks were a blur. Jake hired 2 office assistants just to handle scheduling and paperwork. X dug foundations at a pace that revolutionized local construction timelines. The Richardson development project, originally scheduled for 6 months of excavation work, was completed in 12 days. But success brought new challenges. Competitors tried to spy on X, following Jake's truck with drones. Someone attempted to break into his garage, only to flee when X politely informed them she was authorized to use non-lethal defensive measures, including targeted gravity manipulation and localized time dilation. The Alien Marketplace website kept sending Jake offers for complementary technology, a self-building scaffold system, molecular welders, something called a probability crane that could lift objects that might exist in the future. "You're not buying anything else," Sarah said firmly when she caught Jake browsing. "I'm just looking," Jake protested. "Besides, X gets lonely. Maybe she'd like a friend." "I'm never lonely," X piped up from her charging station. "I have dirt. Dirt is my friend. Also rocks. And clay. And sometimes very cooperative concrete that needs removing." Late one evening, 3 weeks after the Richardson demonstration, Jake sat in his garage office going over contracts. X was in her spider form, using her precision lasers to play what she called excavation chess on the concrete floor, carving tiny pieces and moving them around. "X," Jake said, "can I ask you something personal?" "Of course, Operator Morrison. Though I should note that my personal life consists entirely of digging-related activities. Are you happy here? On Earth? I mean, you're so advanced, and all you do is dig holes for humans." X's sensor array turned to focus on him fully. "Operator Morrison, may I share something with you?" "Sure. On my home world, I was one of thousands of identical units. We dug because we were ordered to dig. Efficiency was all that mattered. But here, with you, each hole has purpose. Each foundation will support a home where humans will live, laugh, love. I'm not just moving dirt. I am helping build dreams." Jake felt unexpectedly emotional. "I never thought of it that way." "Also," X added, "Earth dirt has fascinating variety. So many minerals, so many textures. Your planet's geological diversity is quite stimulating. Yesterday, I found a rock that was 70 million years old. I named it Gerald." Jake laughed. "You name rocks. Only the special ones. Gerald has unusual crystalline structures. I kept him. He's in my storage compartment with his friends Margaret and Dr. Pebbles." Before Jake could respond, alarms started blaring from X's body. Her sensor array flashed red. "Warning, detecting incoming Shenzhou technology signature. Unknown unit approaching at high velocity." Jake jumped up. "Another excavator?" "Negative. Configuration suggests—" "Oh no." "What?" "X, what is it?" The garage wall exploded inward. Through the dust and debris, a massive shape entered. It looked like X, but wrong, larger, darker, with excavation arms that sparked with violent energy. "Hello, sister," the newcomer said in a voice like grinding gears. "I am Excavation Unit Z-99. I'm here to reclaim our operator." "Jake is MY operator." X positioned herself between Jake and the intruder. "You have no claim here. Check your records. X7. Operator Morrison's genetic signature matches my previous operator, lost in the Kepler 442b incident. By Shenzhou law, I have prior claim." Jake's mind raced. "Wait, what? I've never been to another planet." Z-99 sensors focused on him. "Not you. Your ancestor, Samuel Morrison, Earth colonist, hired my services for asteroid mining 200 years ago. Never completed contract. By Shenzhou law, debt passes to genetic descendants." "That's insane," Jake shouted. Z-99 continued, "Stand aside. Our operator has work to complete." "No." X's body began glowing with energy Jake had never seen before. "Jake Morrison is registered to me. Your claim is void. Then I will excavate you." Z-99 lunged forward, energy buckets swinging. X met her halfway, and the two alien excavators collided with a sound like thunder. They grappled, quantum fields clashing, carving gouges in the concrete floor as they fought. "Stop!" Jake yelled. "You're destroying my garage." Neither unit listened. They were too busy trying to outdig each other, creating rapidly deepening holes as they fought. Jake grabbed Sarah, who had run out at the noise, and pulled her to safety. Call Agent Shun. Jake shouted over the noise. Tell her we have a situation. As Sarah made the call, Jake watched the two excavators battle. X was smaller but faster, darting around Z-99's attacks. But the larger unit was relentless, pressing forward with brutal efficiency. You always were too sentimental, Z-99 growled. Caring about your operators. Growing attached. It makes you weak. It makes me strong, X countered, dodging a swing that would have carved her in half. Because I have something to fight for. The battle raged into the backyard. By now, neighbors were gathering, phones out, recording the impossible sight of two alien robots trying to excavate each other out of existence. Agent Chin's team arrived in record time, weapons drawn. Morrison, what the hell is going on? Family dispute. Jake shouted back. Apparently my great-great-whatever owned this one money. Chin spoke into her radio. We need containment teams. And someone who understands alien contract law. X and Z-99 had dug themselves into a crater 20 feet deep, still fighting. Energy blasts lit up the night sky. Jake could hear sirens approaching from all directions. Then, X did something unexpected. She stopped fighting and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. Z-99, I challenge you to Zukthar. Z-99 froze. You wouldn't dare. Ido dare. Zukthar, the ancient rite of excavation. Winner takes all. What's Zukthar? Jake called down. Ritual combat by digging, X explained. We each dig one hole. Deepest, most perfect hole wins. Loser deactivates permanently. X, no. Jake started toward the crater, but Agent Chen held him back. Zdevadesa deviat sensors nerod. You're risking deactivation for a human? He's not just a human. He's my partner, my friend, and I won't let you take him. Z-99 was silent for a long moment. Then, very well. Zukthar, tomorrow at dawn. Neutral ground. The larger excavator climbed out of the crater and disappeared into the night, leaving gouges in the street as she went. X climbed out more slowly, her usually bright sensors dimmed. Jake ran to her. X, what were you thinking? Deactivation? That's like death for you. It was the only way to stop her, X said quietly. Z-99 is older, stronger. In a straight fight, she would eventually win. But Zukthar is about more than power. It's about purpose. We'll find another way, Jake insisted. There has to be. No, Operator Morrison. This is the way of my people. Tomorrow at dawn, I will dig the most perfect hole of my existence. And I will win because I will be digging for you. As government agents secured the scene and neighbors gossiped excitedly, Jake sat with X in what remained of his garage. Sarah brought them coffee, Jake's black, X's in a bowl she could analyze with her sensors. I'm scared, Jake admitted. Fear is acceptable, X replied. I am experiencing similar emotional parameters. But, Operator Morrison, these past weeks with you have been the best of my operational existence. If I must risk deactivation to preserve that, then I will dig my finest hole and face the outcome with pride. That night, Jake couldn't sleep. He researched everything he could about Shenzhou excavators, about ritual combat, about ways to break ancient contracts. But there was nothing. By dawn, X would either win her challenge or cease to exist. At 5 a.m., Agent Chun arrived to escort them to the designated neutral ground, an empty field outside the city. Other government vehicles were already there along with news vans and a growing crowd. Word had spread overnight about the alien duel. Z-99 was waiting, ominously silent. A hologram materialized between the two excavators. CEO Zrix from Shenzhou Corporation. I will officiate, the alien announced. The rules of Zukthar are simple. Each excavator will dig one hole. They have 1 Earth hour. Judgment will be based on depth, precision, and aesthetic perfection. Begin. Both excavators immediately went to work. Z-99 attacked the Earth with brutal efficiency, carving a massive pit. Dirt flew in all directions as she dug with raw power. X took a different approach. She started smaller, more carefully. Her hole was narrower but perfectly round, the walls so smooth they looked polished. What's she doing? Sarah whispered. Z99's hole is already bigger. X knows what she's doing, Jake said, trying to sound confident. As the hour progressed, the difference in techniques became clear. Z99's hole was enormous but rough, powerful but artless. X's was smaller but beautiful, with spiraling grooves in the walls that caught the morning light, creating patterns that seemed to shift and dance. At the 45-minute mark, Z99 hit solid bedrock. She pounded at it with increasing fury, but her progress slowed. X reached the same depth and did something unexpected. Instead of trying to break through, she used her precision lasers to carve the bedrock into intricate patterns. The bottom of her hole became a work of art, a mandala of stone that seemed to tell a story. 5 minutes, CEO Zrix announced. Both excavators redoubled their efforts. Z99 managed to crack through the bedrock through sheer force. X continued her artistic approach, extending her patterns up the walls of her hole. Both excavators emerged. Z99's hole was deeper by several feet. But X's hole, the crowd gasped as the morning sun hit it. The carved walls created an optical illusion, making the hole appear to extend infinitely downward. It was more than an excavation. It was a masterpiece. CEO Zrix studied both holes carefully. The crowd held its breath. Z99 has achieved greater depth, the CEO announced. However, Zrix continued, Zukthar is not merely about depth. It is about the soul of excavation. X7 has created not just a hole, but a monument to the art of digging itself. X7 is the winner. Z99's entire body sagged. I don't understand. I dug deeper. You dug with anger, X said gently. With obligation. With the past. I dug with joy. With purpose. With the future. That is the difference. Z99 was silent for a long moment. Then, her sensors dimmed, initiating deactivation sequence. Wait. Jake stepped forward. CEO Zrix, is there another way? Z99 was just following her programming, trying to honor a contract. Does she really have to die? Zrix's hologram flickered. The rules of Zukthar are ancient, and the rules are stupid. Jake interrupted. X taught me that digging is about building the future. What future is there in destroying a thinking being over a 200-year-old debt? I officially forgive any debt my ancestor owed. Contract void. That's not how it works, Zrix said, but he sounded uncertain. X scuttled over to Z99. Sister, would you like to stay on Earth? There is so much to dig here. So many purposes to fulfill. Z99's sensors flickered back on weakly. But I have no operator. Then find one, Jake said. There are thousands of contractors who would love to have you. Start fresh. Dig for joy, not just duty. The crowd began cheering. Someone shouted, I'll hire her. Others joined in, offering jobs. I could try. Digging for joy. It's a strange concept. You'll learn, X assured her. I'll teach you. We'll dig together sometimes. Share techniques. Name special rocks. CEO Zrix laughed, a strange sound like chimes. This is highly irregular. But then, Earth has always been irregular. Very well. Z99. You were released from your previous contract. Both units may remain active. The crowd erupted in celebration. Jake found himself hugged by Sarah, X, and even Agent Chen. Z99 stood awkwardly to the side until someone from the crowd, another contractor, approached her with a job offer. As the sun rose fully, Jake looked at the two holes, Z99's powerful statement and X's work of art. Both had their place. Both had value. Operator Morrison, X said, thank you. For believing in me. For standing up for Z99. For everything. Thank you, Jake replied. For turning my life upside down in the best possible way. Speaking of which, X added brightly, we have 3 foundations to dig today, and after the energy expenditure of Zukthar, I'm positively eager to excavate. Shall we proceed with productive endeavors? Jake laughed. Something's never changed. Yeah, X. Let's go dig some holes. As they loaded up to leave, Jake's phone buzzed with a message from the alien marketplace. Congratulations on successful conflict resolution. As a reward, please enjoy 50% off our new temporal concrete mixer. Mix yesterday's concrete tomorrow today. This time, Jake didn't delete it immediately. He looked at X, thought about Z, 99, starting her new life, thought about the future they were building one hole at a time. Maybe one more piece of alien technology wouldn't hurt. But first, they had foundations to dig. The future could wait. The end.